Hey everyone, this is Tony, the Geeky Agent from here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, specifically in Binbrook in the farthest southeast corner. We're just continuing our reality conference speaker sneak peek. So right now we're going to be bringing on my good friend and colleague, Kiran Gandhi. She's been in the industry for quite a while. I bet you as long as I have, at least, maybe a bit longer. She was at Remax at one time, and she was a trainer at Remax Integra, and she's since moved on to be both a real estate agent and also a coach trainer type person. She's spoken at lots of events. She does brokerage training and one-to-one coaching and that sort of stuff. So we'll get into all that sort of stuff with her. But she will be speaking at the OREA conference this coming week in Niagara Falls on the Thursday regarding Instagram stories. So we're going to bring her on. We're going to have a good chat with her. And then maybe we'll poke fun at a mutual friend or two. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we'll bring her on. So here we go. And I'm going to bring her to the gallery, and I'll actually unmute her so we can actually hear. Hey, Kiran, how are you?
Hey, Tony, I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent. Good to see you again, as always. We've known each other for, I think, at least 5 or 6 years now. How long ago
Yeah,
was it that
it
you were
seems like
training?
forever. Oh gosh, Remax, Integra. This was like I can't even honestly have lost. Yeah, but at least 5 years. Yeah.
Probably around there, yeah. Because I know you've at the time, like I said, you were an agent, and then you ended up, along with a mutual friend of ours, Andrew, both got hired to be trainers at Remax Integra.
Yeah.
So you were in our office doing training. I saw you at Remax events and other events, and since then you've moved on.
Mhm.
So you did some real estate sales as well, and you're also doing coaching and training on mainly marketing, media type stuff like that. And so that kind of leads us to the reality conferences coming up this week. You
Mhm.
have a very a bold and ambitious title. It's like the seven-figure Instagram stories strategy for organic reach in 2020. I like seven figures. I'll do seven figures if I can. But can you give us an overview, kind of like, for people who are maybe on the fence about coming to the conference and people who will be there, obviously,
Mhm.
what kind of things are you going to be talking about in that 20-minute, half an hour presentation that you're going to give?
Mhm. No, for sure. So a couple things. First of all, Tony, I love how well you pronounce my name. For a non-Indian person, that is probably the most spot-on pronouncement like I've ever
For a
had.
white
So
Canadian
that's
dude, yeah.
amazing pronunciation right there. You've done it really, really well. The conference, I'm really looking forward to it. And I think, and this is something, as you said, I do brokerage trainings across pretty much like the province. And anytime I go to an office, one of the things I always like to mention is these conferences are meant for, of course, learning, but also there's a huge networking component. And reality is going
Yes.
to be one of the biggest ones I've been to in Canada that's real estate specific. I mean, there's a few down in the States, but this is
Hmm.
specifically Canadian. This conference is, geared towards what's relevant to agents in our market. So really, I think this is an amazing opportunity from just like being there standpoint. I mean, the speaker lineup is amazing, but just being there and talking to other agents from other markets, you just never know what you're going to pick up. You just never
Hmm.
know where the conversation is going to take you, what you might pick up, and where that might lead you in your business. It might just be that one idea or those two things that you pick up.
Yeah.
I think sometimes agents look at the who's there, what are they speaking about way too seriously. Like, just go there with an open
Yeah.
mind, and you just never know what you're going to pick up, because that's been one of my mottos. And my entire business has grown from, a huge part of it has been through going to events, through building relationships with other
Yeah.
people, other agents from other markets. So it's just so valuable. So that's just kind of
Absolutely.
speaking about the conference, and I'm sure you agree, because I mean, I see you at the
Well, yeah, we've been at a lot together at
yeah.
Remax and otherwise. Actually, we were both down at Inman, and we ended up sharing a cab from the airport at one time, which was
Yes, we
a
did.
lovely little ride there.
I
But yeah, it's all that part of it too. I mean, I always think of it as, even if uh, the particular conference, not reality in particular, but the particular conference we're going to, even if I'm not that interested in what the speakers are talking about, or I've already heard it before, there's still that value in meeting up with people like yourself and other people in the industry, trading ideas and building those relationships, for whether it's referral business down the road or just having people that you can bounce ideas off of and learn best practices from. Or like you said, if you can leave a conference, I always figure, like, you meet a lot of people and you listen to a lot of information. If you can leave having made a decent connection with about 3 to 5 people and probably picked up 2 or 3 solid ideas that you can implement in your business in the short term, I think for me, that's a successful conference.
I agree 100%. And I think this is one of those things where people look at these conferences as like they're going to come away with a million different things. Like you said, it's all about a few,
Yeah.
2 or 3 actionable items that are actually going to help them, that they can implement. And it's, it's not like there's going to be, the world is going to change by going to a conference. I think people need to align their expectations a little bit and be open-minded. I think this is one of the most important things. Some people are just not open-minded enough. Be open-minded, because you could literally turn your business around. I was speaking with another fellow Remax agent. He's a good friend and I've done some work with him. So he's a client as well. And he's one of the top Remax agents in the country. And I was having a conversation with him, and he doesn't do any other coaching or anything like that. And he's literally said it. He's like, Kiran, my business grows through networking, through going and speaking with other agents, to going through events. And, that's basically how he learns. So there's so much learning that can take place.
Yeah. And like you said, and it's not a one conference kind of thing that's going to change your business. But if you make going to these conferences a regular part of your business, so that you're going, and again, you're learning little bits here and there, and you're picking up and you're building those relationships, because a lot of times it's just like your own clients. If you talk to them like once a year when you send them a Christmas card or something like that, and then don't talk to them again for another year, chances are they're going to forget you, and that relationship's going to grow cold, right? Because they're just not in contact with you. And it's the same with real estate agents. If you're constantly, I wouldn't say all the time, but if you're making an effort to go to these conferences fairly regularly so you can connect with people and then sort of reinforce the connections you have online, offline, then that's when the relationships really start to build, right? And you get that long-term, if you're planning being in the business long-term, that's sort of the best way, I think. Especially if you're in a market like I am here in Hamilton, you're more sort of over into the Toronto area and that sort of thing, where people are moving back and forth or moving into. Building those relationships with agents from across the country pretty much are invaluable, right? But so when we're looking at your specific chat, we're going to be looking at Instagram. And Instagram, Facebook is still pretty powerful in terms of marketing and connecting with clients. Facebook owns Instagram, and so it's not completely surprising that Instagram has taken off and it's become a place where just people go, where the eyeballs are, and people are loving the Instagram posts, but even more, they're moving into, and Facebook's adapting as well, to really focus on stories. So I saw yours, you reposted my post into your stories, and I'm looking at that, and I'm trying to figure some of this stuff out too. So I'm just kind of watching what you're doing, watching what other people are doing, because I do a lot of Instagram posts, but I really haven't taken advantage of the stories yet. So kind of what's your idea in terms of stories, even if it's just generally like why people should kind of move into doing stories more often, and maybe a tip or two about how to get started or what they should be posting or whatever it is that you'd like to talk about to sort of preview your chat.
For sure. So stories is one of those things that, I'll be honest, even for myself, it took me a while to understand the ins and outs of how do you upload it? How do you make them look good? How do you get engagement? But one of the things that I very quickly started to notice from, my shift to focusing more on the content in terms of like posts that I was putting up versus stories, is that the engagement was just incredible. I was getting so many responses, and there's so many little tips and tricks that, when you're actually doing stories strategically, where people will start, watching your stories. And that's another thing I started noticing, is like my followers started to grow. And this is not about you having thousands and thousands of followers. It's about you having the people follow you that actually matter to your business. So for me, for instance, I don't want random followers. To me, I want followers that are real estate agents. So as long as, I'm growing it organically and slowly at a pace which makes sense for me, that's going to translate into business. So I started to leverage stories more and more, and I started to actually see tangible results from it very quickly. And people would just start messaging me. I would start getting, responses from agents down, south of the border as well, big teams that I hadn't heard from. And at that time, and this is now going back towards last year, I was following another fellow agent from the Toronto market, and she's been really good with her stories as well. So me and her started to talk at the time, and the whole idea of 7 figures actually came about once her and I collaborated and put together a course for this topic, where she had gone from making 40,000 in her first year in real estate to over $1 million using Instagram stories as our only lead generation source. So the two of us put our heads together and we came up with this whole and once you start really dissecting why stories work, it makes sense. It's not like it's, there's no big secret. It's just that stories are engaging, they're real time. People like to swipe left and see what you're up to rather than swiping up. They disappear in 24 hours, so there's not as much pressure on you, on what you're posting. You can post way more that way as well. And I think speaking specifically about, a real estate agent now, what your clients are looking for is not just the fact that you have just listed, just sold, pretty open house. Like we got to think above and beyond that. There is inspiration for stories every step of the way. Like if you were to document your day and the problems that you see, or some of the things that are interesting that happen throughout your day, maybe you're at a property and you're looking at a view and you're thinking, wow, there's another one listed 7 floors down and the premium is XYZ. If you put a story together about something so simple as that, people care about that stuff. People want to know that stuff. It's those little things that happen throughout the day which showcase that, it's not just about looking at pretty homes. It's about what goes on behind the scenes. How do you what problems do you come across? How do you navigate through those problems? Because people want to see the real you. It's almost like being the HGTV through Instagram stories for your audience. And it's entirely possible if you start looking at those things. And I'm going to go deeper into that, of course, at the session, but that's the idea. And in the session, what I'm going to be sharing is some of the top performing stories, from NASMA, who's the agent I'm mentioning. And we've actually put those out for agents to take advantage of, because I feel like there's a huge opportunity there if agents started to become more creative and think outside of the box a little bit in terms of what audiences really want.
Right. I know Nasma, so there you go. So we're all friends. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think people really are interested in that behind the scenes look. And to touch on a couple of things you mentioned, the content, like what kind of content you're creating is also very important. Like you said, like you're interested particularly in reaching out to other real estate agents, because that's more the focus of what you want to do. But as an agent, we're dealing with clients. So it's like targeting our content into what's going to they're interested in. So you really have to sort of put a little bit of thought. It's not just throwing anything up against the wall and seeing what sticks. It's that kind of like, okay, what kind of value am I providing to my clients? What are they expecting from me? And how am I helping them understand what real estate is like, what the real estate process is like, what they can expect. So like you mentioned, if you're encountering problems, like if you're trying to deal with a home inspection that's gone bad, or there's issues in a condo building, like I don't know, high-tech plumbing or whatever it might be, and then how you deal with that just demonstrates to them that you know what you're doing. So it helps you build that trust factor again with your clients, and makes them understand that you're not sort of a fly-by-night type person. So you can establish a reputation with them. So yeah, absolutely. And through stories, like you said, you have that opportunity to sort of do that sort of longer view, because you've got a connected series of photos or videos rather than just like one post, right? And yes, and I'm still trying to figure out how to add all the GIFs and everything else, because that just drives me nuts as well.
Is it GIFs? Is it GIFs? Who knows?
It has to be GIFs. I'm sorry, I can't do it any other way.
GIFs. Come on, Tony.
There, I'm open-minded to a point.
Okay, so we'll talk about that more at REALiTY, and that's another thing. If people want to figure out, if it's a GIF or a GIF, we'll be solving that riddle at REALiTY.
So what is like leading? So we kind of covered what your general idea, what you're covering at the conference and stuff. What's your background? Because I know we've had this discussion. Like I mentioned, we had the nice cab ride in New York, which was always fun, and we've been at other events. For people who don't know you as well within the real estate space, what's your background prior to real estate? Like what led you to kind of get involved in real estate, and sort of where are you at now?
So before, I've been in the industry now since 2012, so it's been quite some time. And before that, I used to live in England, and I was a teacher. I used to teach business studies to secondary students, so that's like high school. And it was interesting. That's all I'm going to say about that. I enjoyed it, but then, I moved to Canada, circumstances. I absolutely love being here. And ever since I moved here, I ended up in the industry by fluke. It wasn't something that was planned. It was literally my agent. My aunt was an agent at the time, and she's like, hey, so you're looking for a job. Why don't you come work at my real estate brokerage at front desk? So I started doing that. And yeah, I haven't looked back since, because I was fortunate enough to literally see the industry from various different angles. And when I first started, when I became licensed, I did my first few sales from a Walmart kiosk, standing behind a kiosk as a rookie agent, not knowing what I'm doing. So I did a bunch of sales then, but you know, so I've spent a few years in sales, but for me, the biggest thing, and even when I was selling, is how do you provide that high level customer service experience? Our industry is flooded with agents. There are just so many of us out there. Yet there's only a small percentage of them doing deals over and over again. And the reason behind that is because they actually run it like a business. They don't market just when they have a listing or just when there is a project. They do marketing all around the year, and they provide high level customer service. So for me, I became pretty much just like obsessed with coming up with new strategies, new ways for real estate agents to do business the right way. And for me, one of the most important thing is not having them rely on, scripts and things like that. It's just like, the business is not rocket science. If you do it from a high value standpoint, where you're providing and offering high quality customer service, you will do well, and it will become easier for you to stand out. So, it's just, that's been for the last couple of years now. I started my company, Agent Consulting, and I've been providing trainings, coaching, both on an office level as well as with some of the teams I work one-on-one as well, to put together that strategy from the ground up.
And like, how would so this is sort of part of that, like you said, you developed this content as well for the Instagram stories and that. Yeah. So somebody who's interested in getting in touch with you for the consulting services and training and stuff, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Best way would be through either my website or just add me on social media. I know we're live right now, so I am tagged, so just start connecting with me on social media. Add me on Instagram. Respond to my story.
Facebook, everywhere. Yeah. And what's the website? Is it just kirangandhi.com or
agentconsulting.ca?
Agentconsulting.ca.
For the stories specifically, we are going to be actually launching this at REALiTY, so we're really excited about that. And I have a link which I can post in here, or we can share afterwards if anyone wants to join the waitlist. So when it does get announced, we can send it out to everybody.
Absolutely. And then when you watch the YouTube video, it'll be down here somewhere. It'll be checked out there, so you'll be able to see it there. No, that's awesome. That's all we kind of want to cover. I did want to, you should get your wine glass right now, because we have to have a more serious conversation. This is mine. I don't have wine. I have Ryan Reynolds aviation gin. So he's like Deadpool. So I have to have his gin up. This is the first time I'm trying it. We're going to need a drink, because you and we need to talk about Andrew. So we're both friends with Andrew. I love Andrew. He's a lovely man, but he's very mean to you, which I don't understand, because you're so nice. You're so professional. Generally speaking, from far as I know, you could be crazy otherwise, but very proper and very nice person. And but Andrew is just so mean to you. Why? Can you explain it?
I know. What can I say? He's just so mean, and I'm just so nice. Honestly, all jokes aside,
you can't even bring yourself to say anything bad now.
No, I know, right? Like, I'm really trying to think. No, but all jokes aside, it's just, we go way back. Andrew and I started working together at Remax, like you had mentioned before, and we've been friends ever since then. And, he's one of those friends that's become like family to me. And this is just like our friendship. We just don't know how to be nice to each other anymore.
He's just like the annoying little brother.
Literally. And it's just like, I don't even know how to be nice to him. I don't think he knows how to be nice to me.
I don't know. I was trying to think if you guys were like married and divorced in a past life, or if you were like bitter enemies from somewhere, I don't know, or whatever it was. But yeah, it's fun to watch, I'll tell you that much. So that's always
funny. It's just like, I think he recently, if you go on my Facebook page, there is something he shared where he's just like, you have those friends where you literally can't remember the last time that you were nice to them. Yes. And that's just our friendship. It's great to have friends like that.
And
I'm glad it's entertaining other people. Like, I'm glad it's become a thing where we're actually talking about it. So that's always a good thing.
I wouldn't know how to react if I saw you being nice to each other. I don't know. If I saw you hug.
I don't even know. I literally, sometimes I see him and I was like, I don't even like give him a side hug. It's just like, hey, what's up? Like, yeah.
I know. I was gonna say
That's how we greet
if
each
I
other.
show up at reality and I see you guys hug, I think I would just pass out. I don't know
That'd be
how I would
weird.
handle
Yeah, we
it.
don't hug. We don't even do handshakes. But you know what? He's one of those friends of mine, though. He always has my back, and I always have his. So
Oh,
this
I
is
love Andrew. Like I said, he's a big geek and he's a good friend. But I
yeah,
like to
yeah.
poke fun
You
at
guys
him
do
too.
your geeky things together. I never get like included in any of that.
No, you don't
Let's talk
necessarily
about
want
that
to.
instead, Tony. Why don't we talk about that instead?
Why? I don't know.
Be
You can if you
excluded
want
from
to. Do
all
you
your
want to?
insider
If you
geekiness.
want to be friends with Andrew, I think you have to read like 23 Wheel of Time books or something and figure all that out, which I am not even willing to do. So I'm not, I draw the line somewhere. I'm like,
That's
I can't
so.
do that. I'll go
Am I
watch a
supposed to drink
movie,
this
but
wine? Am I supposed to finish this and drink this, or like?
I don't know. We can cheers here. Where go this way?
Hmm.
Which way are you going?
Sorry. Here we go.
Ching. There you go. And I have his glass here because the other thing I need to do, I'm going to fill this up with gin instead. This is Hinchu's over a pint glass because
Yeah,
we're going to have to see him for like 3 days this week. And
I
even like pre-events and post-events. That's a
know.
lot. That's a
I know.
lot. So I'm probably going to finish this. I just opened this bottle, but I think I may finish it before Monday just to prepare myself, but we'll see. But I do appreciate you coming on. All kidding aside, I do look forward to your chat at Reality. We just wanted to keep this sort of a short, quick little preview of what's happening, give people a chance to get to know you a little bit better. So we will be there. Do you have a booth there, or are you just giving a chat there, or what's
No,
happening?
I do have a booth as well. So definitely come say hi at the booth if you're going to be there. I'm sure I'll see you there. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm
Yeah,
really excited.
awesome. And you connect with Kiran online here on Facebook, on Instagram, follow her stories, check out agentconsulting.ca, and
Yeah,
then we'll
I'll
have
be
a
sure.
link for all your other stuff as well. So I do appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you whenever we get there this week, Monday, Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I look forward to your chat and we'll talk again soon. I think once it's all over, we're planning on doing some sort of a roundup afterwards with a bunch of people, takeaways from the conference, what you learned, any neat vendors and stuff you might have seen, all that sort of stuff. So I'll send you a message and hopefully we'll get everybody together to do that.
Absolutely. Thanks so
Awesome.
much for having me, Tony.
Thanks, Karen. Well, have a great rest of the day.
Take care. You too.
That was my good friend Kiran Gandhi from agentconsulting.ca. Formerly, she worked at Remax with us, and she's doing a bunch of stuff. So I've known her. She started in 2012, which I also did start in 2012. It was a couple of years before we actually our paths crossed. She's amazing. She's just always been just a wealth of knowledge in terms of client care, upping your game in terms of customer service, how to communicate with clients, marketing ideas. And I'm really happy to see that she's being successful. She's working mainly in the Toronto area, but I know she's traveled and she's spoken at many conferences at different brokerages and teams and offices, that sort of thing. So get in touch with her if you're looking to improve your online game, improve your customer service, that sort of thing. Make sure you drop in to see her on the Thursday. She does have a breakout session that day at the Reality Conference at the Scotiabank Convention Center next week in Niagara Falls, or I guess it's this week now if you count Sunday as the beginning of the week, from Tuesday till Thursday, the 25th to the 27th of February. So we look forward to connecting with her, and I'm sure during those 3 days we'll do some live feeds on Instagram, on Facebook, etc., just to see how things are going and check out things at the conference. Last year, Kiran, myself, and Tony Joe did a vendor alley walkthrough. So we'll probably take a little walk through in the trade show side of the event and see who's there, what interesting things they may have for us. They're mainly real estate focused, but they're most likely have some things there that probably can transcend real estate into whatever type of sales business that you're in. So I do appreciate y'all tuning in as always. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Today, Sunday, and I love you. You know I do. And as I always say, I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye for now.